A top contender for the country's second cellular license drops out of the race. A prisoner is found dead in his cell, and parliamentarians vote against a select committee to probe the 2012 Rubis gasoline leak. We've got those stories and a whole lot more. I'm your host, Krishna Virgil, and this is the Tribune's Top 5. The bidding process for the country's second cellular license now involves just two companies. Jamaican-based telecommunications provider Digicel was said to have pulled out of the bidding process for the Bahamas' second cellular license on Wednesday night. According to the Cellular Liberalization Task Force, Digicel Bahamas voluntarily decided not to proceed with its participation in the selection process. The company gave no reason why it had pulled out. As it stands, only Virgin Mobile and Cable Bahamas are left to vie to be the first ever competitor to the Bahamas Telecommunications Company Limited. Digicel had invested 18 months of due diligence in the Bahamian market and said it was prepared to make a $200 to $250 million investment in building 200 to 300 towers it would need for a cellular market in this nation. The company had also promised to create 1,000 construction jobs and 300 full-time jobs if it won the bid for the second mobile license, and had even gone to the extent of identifying where it would locate its customer service centers, head office, and retail stores in the Bahamas. A man accused of murder was found hanging from the bars of his cell at the Department of Correctional Services on Tuesday morning. The inmate, a source told the Tribune, was discovered hanging with a bedsheet wrapped around his neck. While officials remain tight-lipped on the incident, sources close to the matter said police suspected suicide. The deceased has been identified as Jamal Gibson, 25, also known as Eggy. However, the department released a short statement explaining that Gibson was found unresponsive in his cell around 5:45 a.m. It read, quote, "The institution's medical officer was contacted and on arrival conducted an examination. At the conclusion of the examination, the inmate was pronounced dead. The cause of death is unknown," end quote. The department said the coroner and police were contacted, adding that no more information could be provided as the matter was still under investigation. Gibson was remanded to prison in January after he was charged with murder and a litany of other criminal offenses, including attempted murder and threats of death. Prior to his capture, the 25-year-old from Step Street was the subject of a heavy police search in connection with the September 29, 2014 murder of 36-year-old Ricardo Moss and attempted murder of 3 other people, including former PLP election campaign general Carlos Lam, among other offenses. The House Speaker sees the legal opinion recently sought after by the Attorney General's office as a possible hindrance to the work that the Public Accounts Committee is doing in terms of Urban Renewal 2.0. A legal opinion purportedly sought by the Office of the Attorney General dismissing the legality of the Public Accounts Committee's actions as it investigates urban renewal may have interfered with House Speaker Dr. Kendall Major's decision to summon Urban Renewal's co-chairs to appear before the PAC. Speaking with the Tribune, Dr. Major confirmed that to date his office has not issued any instructions for the program's co-chairs, Cynthia Mother Pratt and Algernon Allen, to appear before the PAC. He suggested that the legal opinion, which was reportedly sought from international and local attorneys, might have delayed him from performing that action. Dr. Major also confirmed that he, after meeting with his parliamentary clerks, determined a clear way forward on the matter. However, he said they were still taking it under advisement. Dr. Major has said he met with the clerks in the House of Assembly to figure the next steps. On April 16th, Mrs. Pratt and Mr. Allen refused to appear before a scheduled hearing with the PAC concerning the specifics of a scathing audit that was leaked to the media. They said they could not make that scheduled meeting because of short notice and prior engagements. The Christie administration has selected PowerSecure International Inc. as the preferred bidder to manage the new BEC, both generation and transmission distribution, for a period of 5 years. This appointment is subject to the negotiation and finalization of the management contract, the major terms of which have been agreed. The announcement came on Thursday night after residents and business owners alike in New Providence expressed their anger at the Bahamas Electricity Corporation's inability to provide a steady power supply. BEC's executive chairman Leslie Miller said on Tuesday that there was nothing else officials could do to prevent power cuts over the next few days. Mr. Miller had even predicted that the corporation would have to cut power supply to the remainder of the island to ensure there was electricity at the Thomas A. Robinson National Stadium for the IAAF World Relays, which take place this weekend. However, Works Minister Philip Brave Davis contradicted this statement, saying the relays would not affect power supply to the island. Meanwhile, there were electricity cuts all day Tuesday in parts of New Providence, and some business owners had to close their doors on Monday. At the time, Mr. Miller urged consumers to bear with BEC during this very serious crisis. A statement released by BEC said temporary generator units supplied by Aggreko, an international company, should be installed and operational within the next 4 weeks. An initial 5 megawatts of Aggreko temporary units should be on the island within the next few days, the statement said. A motion for a select committee to probe the 2012 Rubis gasoline leak in Marathon was shot down in the House of Assembly on Wednesday afternoon. 15 government members of parliament voted not to form a select committee to look into the events surrounding the 2012 Rubis gasoline leak in Marathon. Before the vote took place, Port Charlotte MP Dr. Andre Rollins questioned if the government suppressed information surrounding a gas leak at a Rubis service station to protect a private entity that might have made a contribution of a political nature. In a scathing speech in the House of Assembly on Wednesday night, Dr. Rollins lashed out at the government for its handling of the leak, particularly Marathon MP Jerome Fitzgerald. However, despite his impassioned speech, the majority of the parliamentarians on Wednesday voted against the formation of the Select Committee to investigate the spill at the service station at Robinson and Old Trail Roads. Before the vote, Dr. Rollins said the Select Committee would remove all speculation that the government is seeking to hide the facts surrounding the spill. He said, quote, "To deny the formation of a Select Committee into the details surrounding the Rubis oil spill would cause the government to appear callous, reckless, and deceitful. I am not suggesting that this is the case. I am merely stating that the level of cynicism and mistrust that exists in the public domain surrounding that may have come to believe it is an attempt to suppress the freedom of information. By saying no to a select committee, we would only be increasing that perception in the public domain," end quote. Several MPs spoke to the Tribune on Thursday. Among them was State Legal Affairs Minister Damien Gomez. He said he voted against the committee because he knew that the government had used a textbook approach in its response to the crisis. Shane Gibson also spoke out, saying he voted against the motion because he felt as though he was blindsided by a member of his own party. Want to get in on the discussion? Well, here's how you can. Just log on to our website at www.tribune242.com. Like us on Facebook at the Tribune News Network. Send us a tweet at Tribune242 or subscribe to our YouTube page, Tribune242. And before we say farewell until next week, the Tribune would like to say best wishes to Team Bahamas. Go Team Bahamas!